and that way everything's metered, and there went our B-roll camera, so no more B-roll. We talk about our solar panels a lot when we talk about our EVs and cost savings and how much it costs us to do a trip and blah, blah, blah. And a few weeks ago, there was a comment on one of our videos asking about how we went about getting our solar installation. So let's dig into that. Our solar panels save us a tremendous amount of money, not just only in electricity savings, but they've become our primary fuel for these vehicles that we have behind us here that are our daily drivers. And we had wanted to get them for a while, specifically you had. Do you want to, Rachel?
Yeah. Well, I just think solar energy makes so much sense, especially when you're out in the country like we are. We are connected to the grid, but there's so much sun here. We live in a very sunny area. It's relatively flat. There are no mountains nearby. All the buildings are very far away from each other. There aren't a lot of trees. There just really isn't much to block the sun. And here in central Texas, it's hot and there's sunshine quite a lot. So it just makes sense to make use of that.
We're filming this on February 3rd, and big thunderstorms rolled through last night. And you can tell by the level of sun that we have right now, it is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. And I said, it's February 3rd. Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog, did not see his shadow yesterday.
What does that mean?
It means that we don't have 6 more weeks of winter. We'll have an early spring. So
okay, great.
If you believe groundhog meteorology.
I think that only works where the groundhog lives. I don't think it applies to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, Texas does its own thing, regardless of whatever the groundhog says. It's 63 now. It's supposed to be 60-something next weekend. Weekend after that, we might have a blizzard. Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyhow, speaking of blizzards, in February of 2021, we were caught up in the big triple winter storm that hit Texas and froze the entire state and took out power and created a lot of controversy over the stability of the electricity grid and all of that. And it was right around that same time that we realized that fixing up our house, that we had been thinking of selling, that fixing up our house was going to be far more cost effective than getting a new one, and we were only a few months away from paying it off anyway. So we got the house paid off a little bit after that freeze. And
so we decided to start putting the money that we had been putting toward our mortgage toward improvements on the house. It's a mobile home. It is kind of old, so it needed some work, but we felt like the fact that we're on an acre of land and the property was paid off made it worth putting some money into the house.
Yeah, the land is paid off, the house is paid off. So we didn't do that because we're uber wealthy. We are not uber wealthy. We live paycheck to paycheck, but we've been here for 22 years, and you make payments for 20 years, things get paid off.
When we bought it, it felt like it was very expensive, and now compared to housing prices, it was super cheap compared to what people would pay for the same thing now.
Well, we've gotten off track. Let's get back to the solar.
Back to the solar panels.
So there were all these electricity woes. Our house, we knew we were going to freeze our water pipes, and we knew that we didn't have the best heating in the world. So we stayed at your in-laws during the storm, and during the storm, they lost electricity for 38 plus hours.
Yeah, it was just a little over almost 2 days.
And that's in a very upscale neighborhood, and they had pipes freeze as well. And our pipes were just in real bad shape. We got all that fixed. And that was kind of the first major improvement to the house, was the plumbing damage that storm caused. But the electricity thing was always in the back of our head. In May of 2021, just a couple of months after that storm, Ford announced the F-150 Lightning. I became intrigued, and the fact that you could store power in the truck and power your house with the truck was like, hey, we won't have to worry about that big winter storm if it happens again, if we have one of those. And Rachel said, yeah, but we really need to put solar panels on the house first.
I did say that. And it makes sense. Electricity is a big deal here because we're in a mobile home and all of our appliances are electrical. We don't have any natural gas. We don't have any propane. Every single thing that we use that needs power in the house has to come from electricity, and that includes heating and air conditioning.
Heating, air conditioning, water heater, oven, the dryer.
Everything is electric.
We do use propane in the barbecue grill.
That is
that's not
true.
part of the
I
house.
lied. The barbecue grill uses propane.
That didn't come with the house.
Thanks for correcting
that
me.
came from Lowe's.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so everything's electrical. Our electric bill, when we run full heating, when we run full air conditioning, central air, it was about $400 a month just for electricity. So I mean, it would just eat us alive, the electric bill. So anyway, we started thinking about solar, and one of those wouldn't it be nice ifs, and we never thought it was attainable for us, and we just kept putting it to the back of our head. And around November of 2021, I finally put in my reservation on the Lightning, and we started getting, which, by the way, spoiler alert, as you can tell, there is no F-150 Lightning in our driveway. That's a different video.
We didn't buy it.
We did all these plans based on getting an F-150 Lightning, and we didn't get one. Anyway, I put in my $100 reservation on it, and so we started thinking more about the solar panels. And you know those little Facebook groups for your neighborhood that you can log into and people complain about stuff? Well, there was a guy on there who was using that to market his business of solar panel installation. And there are a lot of companies around here, and they annoy us that do door-to-door stuff. And
Don't like it.
They see the solar panels on our house and want us to go with them to be testimonials. Like, no, we'll just leave our neighbors alone. But maybe we should do that. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. This particular one caught our eye because they did roofing and solar, and we knew that our roof needed some work, right?
It's a 23-year-old mobile home at that point. We'd been living in it for 20 years,
Right.
And we knew the roof needed work.
I didn't want to go to all the trouble to put solar panels on a roof that was going to have to be replaced anyway, so it was very useful to find a place that could do the roof and the solar panels at the same time. Plus, because of the way the government incentives were structured, we were able to actually get the loan for the solar panels, and there was enough extra to pay for the roof as well. This is a very low interest loan. It's not a mortgage, which means even if something bad happens, they can't use it to kick us out of our home. And it's guaranteed by the government, so it's not like they can just run off with our money and not give us the service.
And I think the interest rate that we have on that is like 1.9%.
1.9%. That was actually lower than it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
There was a slight clerical error, but the company made so much money on our house that they gave us the
Well, actually,
points for free.
I don't think they did. They just said that ours was an advert. Anyhow,
They did.
Neither here nor there. But they did roofing. We knew we needed roofing. Also, most of the windows on our house are on the front, which faces due west. And in the summer, facing west on top of a hill like we are is brutal in Texas heat.
So
we wanted to extend our roof line as well. And so we asked these guys when we were talking to them, not only do we want a new roof, but we want you to extend it 6 feet on all 4 sides of the house and give us this covered, so we can build a covered wraparound porch in the future. And so that got added in as well. So they started talking about how many panels we needed, and they needed, they asked us for our address. They did a Google Earth shot of our house, asked us the dimensions, and said, okay. And then asked us to look at our electric bill. And at the time, our electric uses had been cut down because our central air quit. We started to use window units. That saved a lot of money on electricity, brought us down to about $150 a month.
Yes, but it was still very hot in the summer,
It's still very hot in the
wasn't
summer.
quite adequate.
It was okay in one room.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we sent him the most recent electric bills and all of that, and they did this engineering workup and said, okay, you're going to need 21 solar panels. And I said, okay. Now here's the thing, I'm planning on purchasing an F-150 Lightning as soon as my reservation number comes up, and I want to be able to have enough solar to cover that, and we want to fix our HVAC, so we want to have enough energy to do that. So what do you think about doubling it? And he said, like, oh, we can fit a whole lot more on your roof than that. We're just saying this is what you need. We're like, okay, how many can you fit? And I was thinking we'd just double it and go to 42. We ended up getting 52 solar panels installed on this thing, so we overproduced like maniacs.
Right, and actually the roof itself could fit more. We were limited to 52 because of the structure of the loan. Because of our credit and a number of other factors, they would only loan us enough to pay for
So
52 solar panels.
time to get into full disclosure, and this is where some of you are going to think, well, you guys just got robbed, blah, blah, blah. I would never do that. And this is where a lot of the solar naysayers are going to jump on us. Okay, so the total cost, we went right up to the limit of what we could get the loan for because of the nature of our house, the mobile home on land, different types of loans and all of that. We were limited. The loan could not go above $75,000. So we took it right to that $75,000 limit. $25,000 of that was the roof by itself. That was replacing the entire roof, extending the roof 6 feet in each direction.
Which made a huge difference, by the way.
Made a huge difference.
It was great.
Yeah, these big, huge beams that go into the ground. That was worth it a lot. And then the solar install was the other 50.
Right.
And the roof process is what took the longest time. But that's what everything worked out to in terms of total cost. So that's, the naysayers are going to want to hear that, but full disclosure, that's what it was.
Right, and that's why we haven't given you specific numbers very often saying like how much we actually save, because we know that the amount we're paying for a solar panel loan each month covers more than just the price of the electricity.
And I'll get into that toward the end of the video. But let's go about the install process. So we went through the whole thing. We said, well, what if we overproduce and we don't have battery backup? We don't have battery backup. At the time, we were thinking we'd have the truck.
Well,
and
we had to choose.
We had to choose between the roof and the
batteries, and we chose the roof.
And we needed the roof. So
you would have too.
Yeah. If you were in our situation, the roof was a necessity. The battery backup was a luxury.
Right.
One of these days, we might go find a junked out EV in a junkyard or something like that, and see if we can't.
That would be a fun experiment. It has been. People have done it before. It's on our list of things to try.
It's on our list of things to try. But anyway, that's it. We're not doing it right away. We don't know how, but we'll figure it out. But aside from that, we got everything set up. We decided to go with 52 solar panels. We were going to overproduce, especially when we found out that our power company was going to pay us back. We overproduce, they'll pay us for the electricity that we generate that goes back into the grid in our neighborhood.
Right. Now that's another thing that makes our situation different from what yours might be. Because we're in a rural area, we are on a co-op, which means that our power company is not there just to suck as much profits as they can out of us like a lot of power companies do. So they actually will pay us back for any power that we overproduce at a rate that is a fair wholesale rate. And they've been really good about it. They're great.
More on that in a few minutes as well. So near the end of January 2022 is when work started, and they trimmed down some of our trees that volunteered to be here so that they could get into the roof, and then it took them about a month to get the roof done.
Yeah, they were working hard though. Those guys were here at 7 every morning, like weekends, every single day. They were working as early as they could until dark. I couldn't believe it. They made me tired just watching them.
And they were here daily, daily, and then they got the roof done right around the time that we had a winter storm come through. And so they backed off during the winter storm, came in, did some finish work. Then it came time for the solar install, and that was a day and a half. We went from having no solar to solar's on and it's done and we're good to go. And then we got to play around with the app, the Solar Edge app, and we could see the little curve of our solar production during the day, and if it got jagged when it was rainy or cloudy. And we started getting really excited the more the numbers went up, because we started getting this thing in February, and as the days got longer, our solar production would go up.
That was really fun to watch, because in January or February, there wasn't a whole lot happening, especially on a cloudy day. But as it got warmer and there was more sun, that was fun. Yeah. That was really fun. And at the height of summer on a sunny day, we make a lot of energy.
We do over somewhere around 150 kilowatts.
Yeah,
kilowatt
150
hours.
Kilowatt hours on a good day.
Just from our solar panels. Right now, today, I looked at Solar Edge, and lifetime our solar panels have generated 53.5 megawatt hours. according to Solar Edge, from the time that they went online in February of 2022. It's February 2024 now, so we've had them for about 2 years. So that averages out to about a little 26 megawatt hours a year.
Yeah, and isn't that the app that'll tell you like how many? It's equivalent to how many trees planted? Or
something like that. I didn't
cool.
look. I screenshotted it. If it's there, I'll put a little circle on it.
It goes up pretty fast though. Like we've done the equivalent of planting a lot of trees according to the app, which is kind of cool.
And so we have this thing for about a week and a half, and we're like, this is working. Now let's see if the EV thing works, and that's when we got our Fiat.
The tomato.
And 6 months later, we got the Bolt. And at the end of 2022, in January of 2023, our electric company sent us a check for $1,400 and then some for the amount of money, for the amount of electricity that we had overproduced. And that was, charging the Fiat for 10 and a half months of the year, and charging the Bolt for another 3 months, and we still got $1,400 back from our electric company. Now, the first month and a half, what we got was a flex loan. We were paying about $123 a month.
Right.
And that check alone seemed like it paid for the solar panels that year, not even saying how much we saved in electricity, just electricity for our house.
Oh, right.
Because it was another $1,200 or $1,500 would have been our electric bill.
Right.
And then we're not buying gas because we got these things.
Right.
So that was a lot. Now, it was a flex loan at the end of 18 months. Here's something else for the naysayers. Now it's more like $400 a month, but that's what it's going to stay until the end of the loan. And I think it's another big, like 20 years, something like that.
Right.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100%
I think it was a
sure on the
20-year
term.
loan. But again, that is paying for our roof as well. And
That
it's
pays
not
for our
a
roof.
mortgage.
That pays for our roof. That pays that covers our electricity, and that covers our daily fuel cost. And this past year, it was an entire year of charging the Fiat, charging the Bolt, and 8 months of charging the Harley Davidson Livewire. Charging 3 EVs, powering a house that has all electrical appliances, and a week and a half ago, our electricity company sent us another check. This time it was less than $1,400, it was $800 and change. I think it was like $816.
Yeah.
And so so we get some back.
Right.
So we calculate that, and we're saving, based on electricity usage, gasoline, alone, we're still, even paying $400 a month on these things, we're saving $200 a month over what we would have been doing before.
Yeah. So this is why we keep saying our situation makes it so that driving EVs is really kind of a no-brainer for us. Not everybody has the same situation we have, but these solar panels make a big difference in the amount that we save versus just driving a gas-powered car.
Now, as far as if an electric vehicle works for you, that's going to depend a lot on your situation and what you do and all of that. And I'm going to have some EV education videos coming out in the next few weeks that can kind of help with that.
That'd be great. If you're gonna buy an EV and you don't know very much about it yet, these videos coming up are going to educate you on all the things that your car dealership is probably not gonna bother to tell you.
And there are some good car dealers out there that know this stuff, but most don't. And also, whether or not you get solar on your house is going to depend a lot on your situation as well.
Absolutely, everybody's different.
If you have a lot of trees, if you don't have good sun coverage, like you can see how much shade we have in our yard right now.
Yeah, I'm not recommending it if you live in like a mountainous area of Canada. It's probably not going to be nearly as useful for you to put solar on your house as us. Also, because we're on a mobile home, the roof line is very simple. It's just, it's almost flat on both sides. Not flat, but like it's very simple. It's not like it's got all these complicated roof facets that the solar company has to work around. We were able to put quite a few panels on, and it was very easy for them.
It doesn't matter that we don't have a good section of our roof with good southern exposure, because our roof is so comparatively flat that anywhere on our roof it can get good coverage.
And we're elevated. We're on a little bit of a rise here, so we're above the other houses. So it was just a really good situation for solar for us.
Next up for us is probably going to be a couple of wind turbines.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Just
I've been
put
looking
up a couple
into
of those so that we can still get some stuff, and then maybe find a junked out EV somewhere that's still got some good kilowatt hours in its battery pack, and maybe start with a totaled live wire and just go with one of those little ones, and just so we have some kind of battery backup.
Wouldn't that be fun?
But yeah, the power company, the solar install came out. They put all these big control boxes on our house. They put all the warning stickers on it that it's where the emergency shutoff is if any line workers need to work on electricity in our area. The pole out by our street has a big sign on it that says that there could be backfeed in the electrical line because of the solar power generation. So there's all kinds they're protected in that.
That reminds me, there's a reason why we can't get power when the power goes out in the grid. Even if the sun is shining, our solar panels will not deliver power to the inside of our house. And the reason they do this, it's frustrating, but the reason they do this is to protect the power line workers. If you don't have a battery system, your solar power comes from your roof, from your solar panels, through your electrical box, your power meter. It goes through your power meter and then back into your house, and that's so that they can monitor how much you're using versus sending some of it back into the grid. And so what that means is that if the power goes out, then and the sun is shining, then the solar panels are still generating electricity, but they don't want that going back into the power lines, because if a worker needs to come out and work on the power lines, they could get electrocuted if there's still electricity running through that line. So they just shut everything down. There is supposedly a way.
There's a cutoff switch, a transfer switch, I think it's called. A transfer
switch, but we did not get one of those installed.
Because we don't have a battery.
We don't have a battery. So that's just the way it is right now. If you're thinking of getting solar panels and you want a transfer switch, but you're not getting batteries, you're gonna have to ask the company ahead of time if they can do that. Because when I asked my company to do it, when they were there almost done installing everything, they blinked at me like they'd never heard of a transfer switch before. So just check into it first.
But our electrical company's still pretty good about some of this stuff. I mean, they gave us a $500 rebate for installing a level 2 EVSE on our house, and that covered the charger, that covered the electrician's cost to do it.
That's a local power company that did that. And they talked to us on the phone when we wanted to ask them, all the questions about what it meant for us and our relationship with the power company, what it meant for us to have solar power. They were really great, very accessible, answered all of our questions, sent somebody out to look at the property to make sure that they could tell us what we were gonna need.
Put on a meter that counts how much energy we deliver to them and how much we receive from them. And that way everything's metered, and there went our B-roll camera, so no more B-roll. So that jump cut that you just saw is because our B-roll camera fell over.
It's a little breezy today.
It's a little breezy, but we should probably wrap this up. We've been going for a while.
We're almost done. I wanted to say one more thing that you may or may not decide to keep in the video about why I think our solar company and roofing company made money on us, even though we got a great deal. It's because we live in a rural area and they didn't have to pay for an engineer to design our roof extension. Usually when they do a roof extension like that, they would have had to pay probably upwards of $1,000 to an engineer to design it for them so that it would fit code. But because we're in a county area, we don't have local city building codes that they had to satisfy. So they just kind of let the builder himself, the roofer himself, was just like, yeah, we're just gonna extend it. And he did a good job. It's sturdy.
Could you say that last little bit again, because I sneezed over it?
They didn't have to pay the extra amount of money for the paperwork is the reason. They didn't have to get permits and things like that. So I think they saved a lot of money, and they were actually pretty happy to buy our points down when they realized that clerical error. That's just my opinion. I don't have the numbers of how much they made, but just based on the tone of voice when they told us it was okay, I think it's fine.
Okay, well, neither here nor there, but that's kind of what our experience was, and we're happy with it. You may not like the deal we got. You may think that you might like it. You might say that we shouldn't have done what we did. We're happy with what we did.
Right.
And it's been a positive change in our lifestyle. and there's more that we want to go around on that. We've got a solar panel that we take with us on our camper now that we can take it off grid. We've got a reservation for an Aptera solar EV.
Those
that
Apteras are so cool.
we're really excited about that one. That's going to be Rachel's daily once they finally start making them.
Yeah, one of these days.
One of these days. But in the meantime, we're covered.
Yep.
So thanks for watching. And this is either going to be a long video. I don't know if I'll cut it down or not. I mean, it's podcast style. I'm supposed to just let it go, and I'm probably just going to let it go. But thanks very much for watching. If you found this video informative, please like it, give us some comments, and subscribe for more content.
Bye.